Alright, what's up, bro? Let me show you some basics of how to use the software. This is just for Photoshop mainly. You don't have to use Photoshop. I'll look around and see if I can find something that's kind of like a carbon copy that you could use, but Photoshop is definitely the place. Bro, it's worth it. If you can get it, get it. Or even see if you can get it through your school, because if they offer it, I'm gonna show you what I worked on, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not the best example, but it's an example I can work with. I'm gonna just open up this edit that I was doing. And to be honest, I might honestly make another one from scratch because I don't like this one too much because I wasn't too pleased. So honestly, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So show you some basic things. I'll just show you on a new blank screen. Depends on what kind of thumbnail you're trying to make. So I'm gonna just show you just simple stuff. Like you've seen it, bro. I'm sure you've seen videos here and there where like they show you the paintbrush and what the fuck. There it is. Yep. But yeah, bro, this is just simple paintbrush. That's really what it is. It's not too like special. There's a pencil tool. There's also a mixer brush, but that gets more elaborate. And I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like some of the stuff you're not even gonna touch. A lot of these tools you're probably never gonna touch. I've been using this software for about 6 years. I've rarely touched even
40% of this motherfucker.
I'm not finna hold like I'm dead serious. Is it some of it necessary on a technical level? Yes, absolutely. It's just I
Nah.
like sometimes I kind of like to take my time with it and just have fun. That's one of the tools I wanted to show you. The next one is of course just this is just a cursor. This is just to move shit around. Like as you can see, I put a background on here, so these are marquee tools. Don't worry about those. That's it sort of helps with outlining shit and like so you don't if you need to paint around something you can or if you need to select something quick you can. The selection tool, it's helpful. It's really helpful for like if you're trying to focus on one part of an image and you need to really isolate a certain part, not necessarily like isolate it as in cut everything else out, but just isolate it as you need something very particular to be edited within the frame itself, as opposed to the entire image. On to the next part of that tools on the left side is the object selection tool. And just brief summary, bro, all it is just like a smart AI that can like detect the shape of an image, or it either analyzes it based off of the shape or it analyzes it based off of the color. I'll just give you an example. This is just an AI render I made for my campaign that I'm running. It's avatar related, but like an example for the quick object selection tool. Like I said, you got to make sure you have it marked, and then as soon as you hover your cursor over, and then as soon as you click it, boom, it auto selects the subject, and then what you'll want to click is just selected mask, and what that does is this immediately. And then it goes back to what I was saying. As you can see here on the right panel, there says color aware and then object aware. So a lot of the times it can analyze the image based off of the color, and then it'll sometimes you can even switch it over and have it change to analyze an object itself. These dials you can tweak with them if you want. Because the lighting on this image was already on point, I don't need to do too many refinements, but it all depends on the shapes.
The shadows and just general lighting, bro, for real.
And then what you'll want to do is click when you want to go to output it, you'll want to either click new layer or new layer with mask. Now, if when you get to a certain like level, I'm not even there, bro. I ain't going to because it's just because I don't spend enough time on this software. I learn it, but I don't spend enough time on it. But when you get to a certain like level of knowledge with this, you would want to use new layer with layer mask. A lot of the times people want to manipulate just the layer mask as opposed to that layer, and it makes it easier for quick cleanup if you need to just scrap a whole entire concept because then you have that base layer still there. But I don't really do that shit. I just put new layer because for real, if I don't like it, I'm gonna just click delete. So back to the whole what's on the toolbar on the left side. You got the crop tool. You already know what this is, bro. This is not even this ain't even nothing new. You just boom. Eyedropper is pretty straightforward. It's just analyze what the color is that you're hovering over. That's all. Then there's a clone stamp. Now clone stamps are pretty cool. A lot of the times, let me show you. So a lot of the times, this is what you can do. If you put the starting point like here, I'll show you. If you put the starting point like right here, for an example, and then you come out all the way out here, in theory, what you're doing is cloning that general vicinity It's pretty cooler when you have it like at a bigger size. It's just I rarely use this tool, and I only use it if there's been no other option given to me. Anytime I Photoshop it, it's just not blending with the rest of the image well. So I just need to resort to something like this. Then you have the eraser tool, which is pretty self-explanatory. You already know. Well, you can increase the size, and if you notice, every time I've gone to adjust like how these tools work, I've gone up to this toolbar above. I can't really guide you in a detailed way to get you to like because you're gonna do it how you want to do it at the end of the day. But what I can tell you is you want to always come up here to adjust for brushes and even erasers, or even just shit, even if it's just like the quick selection tool, which is similar to the object selection tool, but it's manual, so you can just you drag and click with your mouse. A lot of the times you want to come up here to adjust your like the tool and the sizing and even the hardness all makes the difference. Like I make sure that my brushes or even erasing is always soft. It's always soft. It's just because if it's harsh, it's gonna look too choppy or too aggressive. um, the gradient tool, like I did earlier, this is how I'll break it down for you. You like whenever you're making a background, bro, for a thumbnail, I'm gonna just give you a little bit of little cousin tip, just so you know, because this will make every video you ever have clickable. Always make your backgrounds gradients. Never make them solids, unless like the the video is like calling for it, which it rarely ever does. But you should always have a gradient background. You can see how I did this background, but like let me give you another example. Let me go based off of just how the tone and lighting looks. It has lighting this way and then lighting from this direction. And then once you do that, boom. See what I'm saying? But I mainly use text and stuff, but as you can see, like I just use whatever font I like to use, you know what I'm saying? Like and bro, like that's what I was this goes back to what I was saying to you like over text, like take your time with your edits and like on top of that go and go out and look for uh different fonts, you know what I mean? And then I'll show you how to edit your text. It gets more elaborate depending on what kind of project you're doing. Like if you're doing Photoshop work where it's like photo manipulation, and that's when you'd really want to hone in to that eraser tool and then maybe like rely on your brush to blend. All I can tell you is really refer heavily to if you're gonna do anything like more elaborate where you gotta blend pictures together, use that brush tool, use your eyedropper, and use that eraser. Those are your three best friends. For thumbnails, like this is sort of the structure to making any thumbnail. I am gonna do is I will open up one of my projects that I did for one of my buddies just to show you a general gist of what I was discussing earlier. But the more elaborate the image is or the edit is, the more layers you're gonna have. A lot of this text stuff is not too important. I won't say I'll show you at least this one that says Rebirth Island, so that way you can kind of see like what you can do, or like how far you can push it. Pretty much, this gun is just something that I cut out from the base image right here, and as you can see, the base image is absolute garbage. But we're not worried about that. That's not the focus here. And I put like a subtle glow, which I'll show you that panel because this effects you can apply like these glows and stuff on the outline. You can do that to text and objects alike. Photoshop Cody Rhodes, and then put a little with the object selection tool like I showed you earlier, and then just put an orange glow and outline, and then now I'll show you that whole settings and stuff because this is for the text, and I did this for all of these to be clear. This one is a little bit more elaborate, like because it's a text, but everything else is I did it for all of it. So I'll show you what it looks like with the effects off for the text. My buddy just sent me a template and I just cut it out, and then all I did was just add these effects to kind of make it pop. You can see on the right panel here underneath all these images there's effects, and even you can turn off certain effects like the outer glow and stuff. So what you want to do is you want to right click here like not, of course you're not going to click where I'm clicking, but whenever you want to go to edit your text like I am, you want to right click and then go to blending options, and then over here you'll see different settings like bevel, emboss, stroke, inner shadow, inner glow, satin, color overlay, etc., etc., etc. It's not. I'm not gonna say you're not gonna ever use all of them because at some point, one way, shape, or form, I've had to use all of these settings. This is probably one of the most used tools you're gonna end up expending in this software. Bevel and emboss is pretty straightforward. It's kind of like metal, carving out metal or carving out a shape, and then having light refract off of it, and then you're kind of just influencing where that light is refracting from. See how on this square it shows the orange in one corner? Well, that mirrors the orange in this corner of the text itself. So then if I were to move it around, boom, you can see that the orange is starting to move up because of how the light is being refracted. This is the biggest thing, rule of thumb. Um, a lot of the times, depending on what it is, depending on what kind of, if it's a text or if it's a shape and you want to put a bevel on it, a lot of the times it's going to be based off of the lighting in the image. You don't have to do that, bro. But if you want your thumbnails to pop, you want to do that. But you want to make sure that if you're going to put a bevel on there, if it's going to refract lighting, it needs to the light source has to make sense, or wherever the light source is, you got to follow that light source. So based off of the bevel, you can choose whether or not you want to do inner, outer, emboss, pillow emboss, or stroke emboss. I never use these embosses, bro. I only ever use the outer bevel or inner bevel. I mainly use inner bevel, and I only say that because it makes the text in particular, it makes the text look more 3D, and it was also the point of this image too. I wanted to look like a fisheye, like to look magnified a little bit, just kind of like you're really immersed into the environment. And then for the text, I added a gradient overlay, and this is where like I added the color mainly. And this goes back to how I was saying earlier with the gradient. Same rule of thumb. Same rule of thumb. Except you don't got to do that drag with the mouse and stuff. It's just it applies it. And then here is the outer glow. And as you can see, I added a blue outer glow. The reason I did that is because I wanted it to again feel like it's a part of the image itself, and you can sort of see it here on the background as it's like a bit of noise, like color noise there. Even with drop shadows, it's the same thing. You just gotta tweak with it. I don't like drop shadows too much. That's why I only use outer glows because it can kind of give the same exact. They can resemble each other. It just depends on how much you tweak with it. For real. Yes, that is really all they're just relatively it regarding what you would need for like to make thumbnails in general. I hope this helps. Let me know if you want me to make something more elaborate, like an actual Photoshop composite, just something like that. I got you. I'll see what I could do. But yeah, all right, bro. Deuce.